Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast with your host, Hanna Nuss. As always, good morning or afternoon, whatever. I don't know why I just said that. It's not the morning. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in with our great things. I think yesterday my great thing was, you know what? I really think, you know what it was? Yesterday I got mystery mail, which I even forgot to upload the picture of what I ended up getting. And you know how much I love mystery mail, and a lot of times mystery packages come from listeners or from, okay, first off, I love sending mystery mail, so just know that if you're in my crew here, there's a potential that you get mystery mail from me sometime because I love it that much. I love people getting things mysteriously more than I even love getting them. Like, how amazing, right? To get something that you didn't expect just coming up in your mailbox. I'm just saying. Anyways, you've been warned. So yesterday I go to the mailbox and there's this package in my mailbox. I am done. What is this life? How do I just get mystery packages? This is the craziest life. It's not my birthday. It's not Christmas. It's not even close enough to the holidays for something to be just coming to me. And so I'm pumped. Most of my mail is just political mail. And there's this package. So I take the package out. I'm like racing home. I'm so excited. And I get home and I open it up and it's a book. You Deserve It. The Missing Answer to the Life You Want by Dr. Josh Wagner. And so I open it up and it's from one of the podcasts that I was interviewed on from that host, which, like, come on, people. Can we all, like, at some point someone had told me, Hanna, you aren't going to be able to avoid bad people the rest of your life. You're going to have to work with bad people at some point. It's human nature. It's just a fact of life. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I just want to be around people who like life, who are just sunshine, who love me and love what I'm about and like reflect the beauty of that moment. And yesterday as I'm opening this up, I'm just like, this is it. Like, you really don't have to settle. You really don't. I don't know. And so I opened this book and it's just like, not only is this amazing, right? That someone's just sending me mystery mail for the pure fact of just connection. You know, they also pick something out that's just true to me, that is something that I would love and that I get to add to my arsenal of things. And it's amazing. I couldn't have planned a better life than the one that I'm living right now. And I don't know. So getting this book yesterday just changes everything, right? Like completely shifts wherever I was at. It's an automatic energy lift and I'm just pumped, beyond pumped. And that's really my great thing. Like, I don't know. I just never wanted to settle for the fact that I had to work with and for people who were miserable. Like, I don't know. I bought this and this will go up on my shelves when I get them up. It's going to happen someday. And if you're on live or on video, you can see this. but it says stay close to people who feel like sunshine. And forever, as I'm building this business, as I'm doing this work, as I'm moving forward in this new life that I am committed to building for myself, for my family, but mostly for myself, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to vibe with people who vibe with me, who get what I'm talking about, who don't just stare with me, mouth agape, like, what is this bitch on? I want people who feel like sunshine because they make me feel like sunshine, right? And I just want to like collect all those beautiful souls up. I want to just like put them all in my hands and see them all, like shrink them down and just look at all of them. Look how beautiful they are. Look at how they just radiate sunshine and beauty into this world. And I just want to like hold them there and hang out with them and look at them and remember what a gift, what a light they've brought to my life. And then try to repay them with the same courtesy they paid me. Like love people, period. And that's my great thing. I got mystery mail, and this book actually is going to inform what we're talking about today. I always look for inspiration on expansion for what we're going to talk about any day. Sometimes we're like flowing perfectly into where we came from. Sometimes I pull from different resources to kind of tie up the entirety of my thoughts on any given subject. And so today I opened up this book, read a little bit, and I found this quote, and I think it takes us perfectly into the discussion we're going to have today. So make sure that you take time for yourself. Recognize yourself for your great thing, your greatness, however you do your greatness grounding. Write it, say it, spray it, jump it, text it. I don't know what you want to do, journal it, but start practicing greatness. That's how we start to shift the belief that you aren't good enough for the life that you want. Wrongo! You are, okay? And that's why greatness grounding works. Yesterday in a group that I'm in, the founder of the group had posted a video on how his belief is really that he could live this life, that it's possible. And that's what keeps him going. That's how he keeps fueling forward. Well, that's basically what greatness grounding is, right? It's validating, acknowledging this belief that you want to hold about yourself, that you're great, because you are. And it's doing that so consistently that you almost trick your mind into really believing that you deserve this life, right? Because all of a sudden, once you've practiced greatness on a day-to-day basis, all of a sudden you're just like, oh, who is this girl growing up into her skin? Come on. And it happens without you even noticing sometimes. So go ahead and take time to do that. It's a small practice with major impacts. I saw a shift in kids I was coaching so quickly, so dramatically, and I like to credit it to this one practice, greatness grounding. So that's all. Just do it. I don't want to say it again, but I'll keep saying it. Okay, so I stumbled upon this part in this book, the book that I got in the mail yesterday, You Deserve It, by Dr. Josh Wagner. And I can't recommend this book yet, as I only have stumbled into the introduction, but I did find this and I felt like it was such a valuable piece. Your reality is a reflection of what you truly believe you deserve in your life. Your reality is a reflection of what you truly believe you deserve in life. Right? And how many times do we sit there and think about all the things that we wish that we had, that we wish that we could do, that we wish our life looked like, right? And we like compare, and I know that I spent a lot of time in a comparison model where I would be like, oh, I just wish that I had that thing, or I just wish that my life looked like that, or I just wish. And I think the problem with me sitting and just wishing all of those things is that it allowed me to stay stagnant. It allowed me to just sit and wish and wonder and hope, but never move. And truthfully, never fully acknowledge that I deserved the life that I wanted anyways. Right? Like, I didn't believe, and this is where it started. And I believe that this is true for my husband too. So we're both ex-athletes. And I think that's a hard space to come from, because anyone who was any level of sort of successful athlete, and my husband was so much better than me, but anyone who is any level of higher performing athlete probably knows this feeling of like, you always, no matter what, you're always dreaming of like making it big, right? Like, I'm sure, I don't think I ever thought I'd be good enough to play in the Olympics, but I definitely like making it for me as an athlete would have been a Division I scholarship, and that never happened for me. And for my husband, I think it would have been making it to the pros, and he probably was good enough, but like life, right? Whatever happens, tables just turn. And that's pretty much where we picked up our lives. And I think really for the majority of our marriage and our relationship was like living in the what could have been. What could have been, and then kind of stepping fully into the reality that we had found ourselves in. And that was the reality of like broken down athlete, didn't make it, not good enough, and pick up from there, right? This is your life now. This is where you're at. And I think the reflection of what we truly believed about ourselves at that point was that we just weren't good enough. And so we needed to settle, right? Like, if it was going to play out, it would have played out the way that it was supposed to. So now, this is it, right? And both of us, I know, both of us had kind of just accepted that life for us was over. Dreaming for us was over. What we were reflecting was just this reality that life sucks. And if life was supposed to be good, we would have made it pro. We would have gone D1. We would have played out this different reality than the one that we're in. And I don't know that we ever would have recovered from that had we not started the process of forgiving that failure. And that has probably been the hardest, longest path that we've walked so far. And I think so much of marriage and relationships is just continuing to work, continuing to call out things that are painful, but it hurts, right? It hurts to wake up and realize that you settled, that you stopped. And both of us had. And so we both show up as these broken, unwhole people who have nothing compared to everything they used to have, right? When you're an athlete, when that marks who you are and how you show up in this world, It's really hard to escape that. And don't just apply athlete to that. Whatever that was, right? Whatever that thing was, whatever that identity was, the loss of that identity for both of us was traumatic. Was like life-changing, life-ending, and reality accepting. And your dream could die right there. And then what? And so both of us, here we are, trying to work through life, angrily working through life together. And by together, I mean by each other, but not in sync. Just together, moving forward, but never like holding hands and pushing forward. Just moving forward by one another. We're evolving. Here we are. And neither of us really believed that we deserved to even show up and ask for more. Neither of us believed that we deserved a good life now. Well, okay, we deserved a good life, but we didn't deserve a great life anymore. We just deserved good enough. And that was the reality we were living in. We were both miserable. And we were doing what we were told to do. We were doing what everyone jokes about on the TV shows that we grew up watching, right? Like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, mom spends all the money. Dad works hard. Ha, ha, ha. Mom cleans the house, makes the dinners. Dad comes home from work. Like, that was just where we were. That was what we believed we deserved. Just the status quo, just the normal play out of what life was going to look like. And coming from an athletic background, I think both of us were pained by this idea that we didn't have anything we were working on. Because we had been doing that our whole lives. Like, your focal point is whatever your craft is. And we had spent 18 plus years focused on that focal point. Shoot, for me and for him, 22 years. Going for one goal and not making it. Pouring everything. Taking fun off the table in exchange for this goal, this dream of who you were supposed to become. Like, not doing things other kids did, doing everything you could to make it happen, and you failed. And so we started to accept this failed reality. And that's what we became. This failure story, and yet right in the failure, there was still success, but we had accepted a reality of failure. And that's what we were reflecting. And it reflected back angry. It reflected back snarky. It reflected back just all the things that neither of us ever wanted to be. But it was just the reflection of our reality. That's what we had accepted in life. And one day, I remember, and I was just writing about this the other day in the book, I remember when I came home from my conference and we have this like vomit-worthy discussion of what I wanted to do with my life and how I had this word and how it made me sick too, and that was okay. But I think that day really shifted everything because we started having honest conversations that weren't a reflection of this failed life that we were living. Like, this was not by default, and this was also not something that we had to accept anymore. In our relationship, in our lives, like, I came back from that conference, I said that word, and I said, I just want to decide from here on out. Like, I think the problem with where we are right now, in our relationship, in our life and our jobs, in everything, is that we just settled in. And like we could get together, and we were really good about this. We'd get together every year and we'd like have dreams and goals, and all of them were just like fake, or they were so far out from our lives that we were never going to live in the in-between. We were waiting to live in the later. Like, because boom, it didn't happen when we were 20. So now we sign up for the misery to save for it to be good again. And hopefully we live until then. No! Right? So I come back and I say, like, we just need to decide, like, what we want to do. Not just, like, sign up for what everybody tells us we want to do. Like, let's decide, what do we actually want? And that day, you know, we decide that we want to travel. And we want to someday build a house. And we want all of these things. And we also, more than anything, want to do things every day that we enjoy. For a job, for a career, for whatever, like, we want to enjoy our lives. We don't want to accept that we have to be miserable. We don't want to be miserable with each other in our relationship. We want to actually work to build this life together. Like hand in hand, not just working by one another, working with one another. And that's a constant battle and conversation. Like the ability to keep the train on the tracks when you're trying to move together, especially early on, is hard. We're still early on of like, okay, how do we curb emotions? How do we talk through these things? How do we navigate this? And for the longest time, I just thought like, oh, I'm just probably going to fail at everything related to marriage and relationships. Like I'm too crazy. I just have madness of ideas. It just probably isn't going to work out. Like I'm obsessed with this person that I married, but like, right? The common note is that you pretty much hate each other and just tolerate each other. And I just didn't want that. Like, I don't know. I'm sort of obsessed with this person. And not everybody is, so I don't want to promise you something that maybe is never going to happen for you. But for me, like, I'm genuinely obsessed with this person, my husband. And, like, he's worth building an entire life around. And I want to build it around and with him. And, like, as we move forward in what this life should be, we have to decide what reality we want to reflect. What do we truly believe we deserve? As a couple? As a family? As individuals? Because we're the only ones who can make ourselves happy. And once we start to accept that we have to believe that we deserve that life, right? So we had to start shifting from this idea that we had failed and that now we deserve just an average life. We have to start shifting that belief because that's going to keep us stuck right where we are, right? The misery, all of that is just a product of what we were reflecting. We were reflecting this idea of average, of life good enough, just good enough, because that's what we believed we deserved. We failed, right? And for athletes, that's like, dude, take the train off the tracks. Never again, never dreaming again. I failed. I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to make it big. This is how it was supposed to play out. Done. Now we just do the average thing. Can't be a pro baseball player. Done. Signing off. hope to retire someday and maybe go to some baseball games. Right? This is what we were reflecting. This is exactly it. We had settled, and we had settled together because we believed we had failed and that this is what we deserve now. Period. And because of that belief, we just didn't really try. We didn't even try. We were just kind of standing there accepting what was being dealt to us. We definitely weren't deciding anything because it wasn't up to us anymore. We had experienced that firsthand with our dreams dying. Right? But that's what we believed we deserved. We believed we deserved that life. And it just isn't true. Like, you deserve the life you dream of. You absolutely do. And that's going to change. The way that you live out that dream changes over time. Like, fine, it was going to be a baseball player, success, blah, 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 blah. Well, how do you still apply the same things that you found success in on a baseball field or on a volleyball court or basketball court or in a band or wherever it was that dream kind of died? Like, how do you apply those gifts to what you're doing now, right? This identity is ever changing. So this reality that the only identity we deserve to have was athlete or bust was limited. And since we were settling for that reality, that's what we started to reflect. And I think really where we went wrong was thinking that it was only going to play out one way and then settling. And that just isn't true. You deserve greatness in between the time. You deserve greatness before you retire. You deserve greatness even though maybe you got it wrong once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I don't know. I think that I'm on like my 6th time. And as long as you keep moving forward, and more than anything, stay focused on the fact that you are the reflection of what you believe you deserve. And we had gotten so comfortable in believing that we deserved less than because of those first failed instances that's what we started to reflect. It was just a whole life of less than. And honestly, we started taking a journey down this path of actually deciding what our lives would look like about 7 years ago. And really within the last 3 years, just started turning around our lives. And we had a lot of financial stuff that we had to get in line, right? Because that was our very first step in starting to walk this path. But now that we're in this kind of 3-year momentum building of like taking the power back for our lives, it's truly just been a shift of that mindset of believing that we actually deserve the life that we want to create. And I think even when we were working in the early stages of this, that was the hardest thing to shift, was this idea that we deserved it. And that it was okay that it hadn't played out that first kind of vision of how it was going to play out. We had to forgive ourselves for that failure. And then we could start walking this path of what life looks like after that death, after the acceptance of the life we're in now. And it's all in that belief. It's all in shifting that belief that you actually deserve this life, a beautiful life, the one you dream of. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.